Hi, welcome back to another exciting episode of Ask Coach Matthew. I'd like to thank Coach Lewis for the excellent question about working with the two forwards in the midfield and transition with them. Check out the session we've put together. We've put together two variations of it, a simpler version and a dynamic version. Check out the session. Don't forget to leave some comments and look forward to reading all the wonderful comments that everyone writes. So let's take a look at the session. The session is a 7v6 possession game with two forwards, and we're focusing on the midfield area. We've put together two different variations of the session. The first version is a simple version, and the second is more dynamic. We'll talk about the dynamic session in a few seconds. Check out the first variation of this. It's two forwards, four defensive players, and a keeper. In this situation, the only rule we have in place is the two center forwards have to stay, and the ball has to get played for them first before the other players can cross over the midfield line. This gives a unique variation to the training to where you're always building and you're working now just specifically with the two forwards, how they move off the ball and when you want to play that entry pass to them with the other players attacking. Take a look at the session, let your players vary with it. You can put different variations on it with regarding to the number of touches they take. How many touches do you want them to take in your half before they cross over? Variation with how wide do you want the field? Let's take a look now at the second variation of this more dynamic approach on this. So the dynamic approach of the session is that we now focus that the entry pass doesn't have to be directly to the forwards. Also, the forwards can change position with the players. So we can have the forward drop back over the midfield line, which triggers another player from the midfield to take a step forwards into the attacking half of the field. So you create now a dynamic movement of your team, and the goal is not to have two designated forwards, but the goal is to have always two players forwards higher than the supporting players. In this way, the midfield players and the forwards can constantly change. When the forward drops back in the midfield, it pulls the defense with them. This allows one of the midfielders to step into the attack, and technically you now have two forwards, one on the left, one on the right, so you give a nice variation to your team. Enjoy the session, leave some comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Ask Coach Matthew for weekly updates.